Hey everybody, Adam Savage at Prop Store down in Los Angeles with Chuck. How are you?
I'm lovely.
And Iron Monger.
He is a monger, all right. Yes, he's huge.
I was not prepared for how giant this thing is. This is from the original OG Iron Man.
Yes, first movie, Iron Monger. Obviously, a little bit bigger than his counterpart, Iron Man.
Oh my God.
He's trying to build something that's like Tony Stark's Iron Man armor, but he has gotten a larger version of it, and so this actually looks like it could fit somebody's actual helmet there.
It could almost,
as opposed to the smaller Iron Man helmet. But this thing is huge. But Monger is a big word.
So this is built by Legacy Effects, if I'm right. Yes.
Well, I believe they made all the Iron Man costumes.
Okay.
And through that, and I think there's definitely an evolution of the costumes throughout the years. They started by building giant, almost complete costumes, where then years later you found out that it wasn't very economical to do that.
No, and the actors don't like getting put into the armor constantly.
Yes, and so they sort of evolved to building pieces of the armor over the actors, which was a lot cheaper because what I heard, at least talking to Legacy, it was like $500,000 to build a complete Iron Man suit. I mean, that is crazy. And you think about production, they can't afford to necessarily build these giant type pieces like this.
And this was not a costume. I'm looking at this, and Jeff Bridges, I don't think, got into this. This is
I think this is more of a, I can call it set deck piece, but yes, it is a bigger piece that not necessarily intended for an actor to wear, but using a lot of the same sort of technology or, to build a lot of this. Now this is, I believe, fiberglass?
Yeah, you can see the construction on the inside. It's pretty straightforward. Again, we've gotten to talk about so many of the props made for Jon Favreau's films, and frequently in collaboration with Legacy. Up close, the veracity of these finishes is just insane. It is absolutely beautiful and feels like it is made of heavy, thick. It's like those plates they put on the highway wrapped around a person. And yet the whole thing probably weighs less than 100 pounds.
Yeah, and I love even the gashes and other things that sort of help sell this as it is a piece of metal that has been through wear and tear. When I get to look at it up close in person, I get to see it's a paint effect, you know, and it's a very nice paint effect that somebody did to it. But just beautiful work that Legacy did on these things.
So I would imagine that this would be set deck, but also potentially lighting reference. Like you can bring this to other sets and make sure you know how to light your CG version of the same.
I would imagine. Hopefully it got a lot of use for as much as it costs. And the head does separate out. I think this was built as part of a display. There's separate lighting, obviously, for this, as well as the helmet itself. So it's not all one piece. And I believe we actually sold it in two different pieces. I think it was originally sold back in the original Marvel auctions way back, and then it got separated, and then it got put back together, I believe, if I remember the history of this one correctly. But it's great to see it together. I think the helmet with the chest piece really kind of sell it as a beautiful display piece, and would look great in any kind of movie room that somebody might have.
We covered an armor auction at the Metropolitan Museum of Art back in 2017. And one of the key features of that auction was that many of the suits of armor in that show had not been complete for hundreds of years because parts were in different collections.
Wow.
I don't think people realize that auction items can sometimes go off into the clouds and then come back together after a few dozen years.
It's funny too, because as a collector, it's sometimes it's ooh, that's not the hat that goes with this costume, but that's the hat over there and I want that one. So they buy it and then they switch it around, and then years later it does come back to auction in that way. And so, but the collector always wants to just complete something. They want to put it back together. So I'm, again, glad that this guy is at least, it's got the head and the chest together.
Dude, it is so gorgeous. I don't know where it will go in my house, but I love it. This is not the only robot we have here.
No, we don't. We're moving on to Iron Man 2.
Okay, second movie.
Second
this
robot
is
one of the hammer drones here. So if you remember, there was Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines. I believe we've had Air Force before. This is the Army. And as you can tell from the details on the side.
Yep.
But again, this, as if Iron Man had, there's a big battle and there's a ton of different drones. I believe this is technically was a background drone. I mean, it's a lot of work for a background drone. Right. But they obviously did a lot of CG for that scene. But they wanted to have some practical ones there as well. And so they did make some practical ones. And a lot of work went into this.
Dude, it is so much work. It's absolutely beautiful. I love seeing a production-made arc reactor, which looks like sintered. It looks like sintered copper, but that's probably just 3D printed. But It's gorgeous. It's really neat seeing that up close.
Yeah, yeah. And then, it almost feels like metal, but it is not. It is actually fiberglass as well. And they did a great job, again, on the paint job here to give it the effect that it is an actual sort of aluminum or some kind of steel, I guess it would have been if it got ripped apart. But
I love this.
titanium.
It's like they've cut away the fiberglass, right, with a jigsaw or something like that, and then they've bent a line of aluminum to be the peeled up bit of metal. I'm going to save that technique. That's a nice little. That's a nice little fix there.
But for a ripped up drone, it is gorgeous. Is it
Dude, it's really amazing.
It's great.
I think whoever buys one of these needs to buy the second one. Let's just be.
You got to have a friend.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
You need the
Iron Monger needs a
matching
friend.
set.
Yeah.
Well, from the high and mighty to the much more small and head size, let's go talk about this
Let's
third
go
Marvel
talk
piece.
about this other piece. Yeah.
Oh, dude. I have not seen one of these up close.
I got the chance to see a few of these at the Marvel exhibits. So we've been doing the Marvel exhibits that have been traveling the world, and we were lucky enough to have 2 on loan from Marvel. Looked very similar. Obviously, this is just the bust of it, but the costume material as well as the helmet, all looked. I got to study them, and now you can study them. Yeah.
It is amazing to see this up close. I mean, one of the things, within the canon of the films, Wakanda is both a mysterious and brand new technology, but also a really rigorous sort of design scheme covers all of Wakanda. And you can't really fake a rigorous design scheme. You sort of have to do it physically, and it looks like they really have.
And they have to integrate the metal in some ways into the costume because of the technology. And so it's a technologically superior costume to anything that we've ever seen before, even over above Captain America and all those guys. And I think that's what the costume entails, is when you look at all the details, even this sort of gives the sense of, sort of technology built into the helmet, and that it can transform. And obviously it sort of goes, it sort of appears on his face and comes back from his face through technology. And obviously this is vibranium that is sort of integrated into the costume aspect of it as well.
Well, and the technical challenge for the costume makers is intense. The suit basically grows on the wearer.
Yeah.
So it has to look like a skin. And if I remember being told that this helmet, which breaks apart into 2 halves.
It separates with magnets, yes.
It's one of the first uses of what I know as ultra Velcro, this sort of brand new sort of super, super thin Velcro that is like a sheet of paper, which was necessary for getting these impossibly thin seams to meet.
Yeah, and it's great to it. Now, this one has a little bit of damage that you can see to it. It unfortunately sustained damage and was taken out of circulation.
This was filmed. This is a filming.
This was a film. This is, if you look on the inside, it's labeled for stunt. But it's always an interesting thing, too, especially when you think about this movie. Did the stunt probably had more screen time than the main actor in some ways, because you don't know who's behind this doing all the stunts that are doing it. But it's a stunt version. I believe they were made exactly the same way, but it sustained some damage because they did a lot of crazy stunts in that, and a lot of action that was going on in this. And unfortunately, not everything's going to be able to survive. And so there are some cracks to the side of this, small, but they also allow us to sort of see how this thing was constructed as well.
Well, and I also want to highlight one of my favorite things that comes out of Marvel costuming, which is screen printing on dance fabric. They did that for Captain America's suit and Winter Soldier. This is such a refinement. And just to be clear, like when you're printing on fabric to sew something together, your art director is choosing the pattern and how they lay out, and you have to make all those patterns fit across a screen print and then sew them together so they work. It is.
What I love about it is the Wakandan script that's in here too. If you notice that, it's written in Wakandan all throughout the costume. And so those are the tiny little details that when you get to see one of these up close, you really appreciate. You may not get to see it on screen, but they went to all the details to really make this Black Panther costume as great as it could be.
There is usually, there's an old Raymond Chandler line. From 30 feet away, she looked pretty fine. From 10 feet away, she looked like she was made up to be seen from 30 feet away. And movie props sometimes follow that, right? It looks amazing from here, but you get here and you see the artifice, right? There is no closeness that does not yield a reward of detail.
Yeah, just the texture. I kind of want to touch it. I'm not going to touch it, but you can see sort of the texture even in the helmet. That's just amazing on that. And I think it's presented nicely on the bust here. You can't have the full costume, but you've got really the essence of it. And as I said, the ones that we had in the Marvel exhibit were very similar in the way that they were constructed. I do think there was a sort of a CGI version of the necklace as well, because how it appears on there. But for practical, the way that they have these, and I believe they're plastic or rubber pieces.
I think these are hard rubber.
I think these are hard rubber.
Of course they would be, because they're touching the actor's skin.
Yes, yeah. Obviously, they don't want anything too sharp, so those would be built into the fabric.
It is. Yeah, the closest analog I can come to is that every part of it looks like a piece of jewelry.
Yeah, well,
just amazing. Is this the first time you've carried one of these helmets?
This is yes. As far as I know, this is the first one that's actually come up for public auction here. So
incredible.
So yeah, amazing piece. And I know it was originally acquired before the passing of the actor that we all love here. So just a great piece. And great thing is, I believe that I was talking to the folks at Smithsonian, they actually have one over at the African American Museum, I do believe, at least over there, for people to see if they care to go see an example of a Black Panther costume.
So it's one of my all-time favorite Marvel films. At one point on a cross-Atlantic flight, I watched it and I got over and I was like, I'll see it again. I just watched it a second time. So for collectors of Marvel props, this auction is upcoming, yes?
It is March 25th through the 27th.
Amazing.
And a few great things are coming up for auction that you can take home with.
Chuck, thank you so much.
Thanks, Adam.
Thank you guys so much for watching. One of my favorite things we make in our tested store are demerit badges. These are like scout badges, but for screwing stuff up, because screwing up is not just a part of the making process, it is intrinsic to it, and we like to celebrate that. We've got 27 so far in the Supervisors bundle that you can go buy right now by clicking on the link in the description, but we also have a booster pack of some brand new patches. This is the demerit badge for burning off your eyebrow. I am proudly sewing that to all of my clothes. This is the demerit badge for having a messy workbench, which I do not get today. My workbench is super clean. And we have new octagonal patches that are, merit badges. This is the merit badge for sweeping up your shop. Congratulations, I'm so proud of you. And this, oh my God, this is great. This is the merit badge for creating a clean space on your bench. Hey, we got to take our successes where they come and meet them there. Go to the tested-store.com or adamsavage.com to buy any of these, or click on a link in the description.